Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers Showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another very impressive ship. And this one is super impressive with the sheer amount of detail on there and just the sheer size of this ship and what it's done with it. Yes, we are looking at the AST Guanin, which is this lovely thing right here. So this is a very fancy exploration ship that features a large multi-floored interior that has a lot of fancy stuff that should anger Lord Clang, but it doesn't. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu. There it is. This thing is 10,452 small blocks using no mods, no scripts, and no DLC items. It does have a few programmable blocks here and there which are empty, and I have made use of one of them for the auto door and airlock script, just so the doors will automatically close behind me, so I don't have to keep turning around and closing them myself. So we'll give this a little thumbs up. In fact, I've already done that already. And we'll just come around to the front, have a look around the outside, then we'll go on the inside to see just how impressive it actually is. Then we'll play around with some of the buttons on the cockpit. So at the very front here, this is what we get. We can see our glass bridge at the top there, which is how we're going to fly this thing. Surrounding that, we've got some very colourful blocks going from a yellow shade over to a dark red. And that's the main theme all the way around this ship. If I was just to tilt up like this, you'll be able to see how it's been done. So we go from a yellow to a dark red, all the way to a white on the very edge of our wings. It's fantastic to look at and must have taken quite some time to get that all right. Yes, coming down to here, we've got some grey blocks which are just surrounding sort of the internals of the ship. We've got two little spotlights there to light up the darkness, and just below that we can see a small inside area of where we've got a small living quarter with a desk front and centre. On the left and the right hand side, we've got these two other grey parts which are just fake little vents made out of blast door blocks, and they just come across onto nothing, and they're there for decoration. As we continue around the side there, in fact we'll go to the opposite side where that little gravity generator isn't sitting, we'll see even more of the colourful steel blocks. We've got even more windows that just go through all the different rooms. And moving along there, even more fancy blockwork, more windows. In fact, I do like how these windows have been set up. They are double windows, so if one gets destroyed, you're not going to lose all your oxygen on the interior. Yes, that comes across onto our wings, which turn white. Then moving along all the way to the back there, even more fancy blocks, even more colourful blocks. And then going towards the back there, we then see some more grey fake little vent blocks made out of the blast door edge blocks. Then we come to this fantastic little thing right here. Now this should anger Clang because of how it's been set up. It is rotors on hinges, and they can open up, sort of flay out to allow you to access all the little internals surrounding this hydrogen thruster. It's incredible to look at, must have taken quite some time to set up, and I'll show you that a little bit later on when we get into the cockpit. But yes, this is our main form of thrust. We've got hydrogen thrusters to push us along, and it's one of the few thrusters that we can actually see on the outside. Pretty much everything else is hidden away inside by a few hydrogen and a few atmospherics underneath. Speaking of underneath, we drop down past this hydrogen thruster right here. We're going to see some windows to peer inside once again. And we can see a few more hydrogen thrusters there to help us on the up and down. If we continue going down and underneath, we've got this little section right here. We've got a button which is going to be to drop down this right here. This is a small little cargo loading bay that will drop down via a piston and allow you to get big things in and out. It's not big enough for a small ship or even a small land vehicle, but it's good enough to load multiple people on and off. If we look over to here, this is our primary way in and out, where we've got a yellow button which will fold down this blast door ramp, and sitting behind there will be a doorway to open up, which will then lead into the ship. And of course we've got a few little wheel blocks just dotted around for some extra decoration, and there's a few atmospheric thrusters and two little ion thrusters just to help us out. If we continue along the bottom, we've got some more dark red blocks that still follow the same colouring scheme as on the top. On the left and the right hand side, we do have these little blue wheels which will be able to fold down when we're ready to land on the ground, because we do not use traditional landing gear. We do rely on these wheels to bop ourselves down when we're ready to land on a planet or a station. Yes, moving all the way along over to here, we've got another window block to peer inside, which is going to be in the airlock. And then moving towards the front there, we can see some more atmospheric thrusters on the side of our wings. Over to here, another wheel setup, which will fold out like the ones I just talked about. And over to here, at the very front, there is the cockpit and living quarter we saw at the start. Yes, that is a very, very brief around the outside. There is a lot more hidden on the outside, but we won't see that until I'm in the cockpit and able to press the buttons to extend them and retract them out. So grabbing hold of my character and turning around and coming to the very back, over to here, there is a lot of detail on here. I just recommend just downloading this and looking at it yourself, because it is a lot easier to view than it is to explain with just the sheer amount of detail on here. Anyway, yes, coming all the way down to here, we'll start at the very bottom and we'll eventually come back to here. So we've got this button we can press and it will just fold all the way down. One thing I will recommend not doing is pressing the button while you're standing on it, because due to Space Engineer's logic, you're going to get your head stuck up there and it's going to cause the ship to start moving. Yes, opening up this doorway, we can then walk inside, and this is our small intermittent airlock where we've got a button just above there that'll fold up the ramp, and now we're nice and safe. In this little room, we've got a window to view down that we saw earlier, and then to our left, we got some shelves made out of some window blocks. Can't place anything on there logically because it will just rattle around as soon as you move, but it is still nice if you want to do that for a type of RP. Anyway, over to here is going to be a elevator. Yes, a very dangerous thing that isn't too dangerous these days thanks to the block collision changes. They'll just lead up to the very top, but we'll come back to that a bit later. Coming through this doorway, we'll then go into our living quarters. All being done via vanilla blocks, no DLC, no mods and all that. Plus a table made out of wood and some chairs. We can see a hydrogen tank up there being used as decoration. Our large LCD screen with a nice little logo on it. And another doorway that will just pop through very quickly. That'll be to a small living quarter. Once again, some shelves made out of glass. Over here, a small desk and chair setup. The chair has been angled via a rotor. And we've got a programmable block being used as a small personal computer. And there is our bed setup with some rounded blocks as pillows and some nice blue blocks for our bed with a small air vent in the middle. It's a very cozy little area to sit on and view out the window, once again with a double window setup so we're nice and safe inside here. Then getting up, turning around, we'll then head back into here. Moving along over to here, we've got some good use of the window blocks, which is being used as a divider from our table and chairs to our little sitting area up there. We've got another hydrogen tank right here and a programmable block which didn't have anything on, but I added Whip's auto door and airlock script just to make sure the doors would close up behind me. Moving over to here, this is our sitting area. We've got a lovely wooden table and some very comfy chairs to sit on. Have your discussion with your crews about your adventure, and you can have your little coffee, you can have a small snack on here, and then be on your way. Turning around and coming over to here will be the toilet setup, set up with vanilla blocks. We've got a small area there to store your stuff on. A little toilet there, we've got some small boxes, and we've got a small empty toilet roll right there. You might want to add some on there, or you're going to be in a bit of trouble if you're on an adventure. Yes, walking out of there and continuing along through here, we've got two more doors. This one is going to lead to another living quarter. This is like a personal captain's quarter. We've got a small table and chair set up to sit on and do our stuff, which we saw earlier at the very front. Come around to here, we've got a bed to sleep on and a small LCD screen TV setup, so you can watch a movie while relaxing on your bed. Coming over to here, we've got a very fancy shelf setup where you can press this button and it will fold out to store our stuff in. Then when we're ready, we can close it up and be nice, safely hidden away in the wall. Yes, there we go. And we've got some small windows down here to peer out of. And we can come back through and into the other door. So coming all the way over to here, we then got a small little kitchen area. We've got a very nice cooker setup. We've got our little air vents to go up and out the ship. There's our little plates to put our pots and pans on. Turning around over there, we've got another window, double window setup even if you're outside. And over to here, what I like to think is a small little microwave to put your stuff in. And over here, we've got a lovely little fridge made out of some large window blocks with nothing in it. Once again, might want to put some food in there, or you're going to starve on your adventure. Turning around and coming back through here, it's time to go up the elevator, which is through here. So this little elevator has been uniquely set up. When we're ready to go up, we will simply press a button. That will then retract at the top there via a piston, and it will move all the way up. So walking onto it like so and pressing that, top one's for up, bottom one's for down, we can press that. The roof will then retract back, and then we'll be shoved all the way up, and now we're on the second floor. Walking across to here, we've got a similar button setup where we can send the elevator all the way down, and then of course our blast off blocks will be pulled across, There we go. Then when we're ready to go back down, we can just summon the elevator once again. And there we go. Panning around and opening up this doorway, we're almost done with this little showcase. We come into this little intermittent room where we get our little pilot and co-pilot beds. Not very fancy, in fact they could be emergency escape pod beds, depends on what you want to do with them. Yes, you can probably just wedge yourself inside there and go to sleep. I don't think you can actually fit the character in there, but never mind about that. That'll lead up to our cockpit. Coming around over to here will be then a small little cryopod room, where we do have a small LCD screen on there with some very fancy stuff going on. We've got a whale, we've got what I think is a crocodile, a budgie, and we got Elmo worshipping Satan. We can just do a quick little recharge in there. We can access our O2H2 generator from there, and it's a very nice little medical room to heal up in. Coming around and into this one, this is going to be our elevator down. So pressing this button will then be extended all the way out. There is the door that we got into earlier, and we now load and unload cargo. If we were to press that button and come back up, just looking around here, like I said, you're not going to be able to fit a ship in here, you're not going to be able to fit a small vehicle, but it is good enough to load multiple people in and out of the ship. So if you want to do a prisoner run and transport them from one place to another, you could do that if you wanted to. Opening up this doorway, we'll come to our final room, which is going to be the bridge, and this is what we get. On the left hand side, we've got a small little seat to sit on where we've got some LCD screens in front of us and some instructions of how to manually control the Gatling guns if we ever need to do that. Coming out the chair and going to the opposite side, we then got like our little sciencey bay with our LCD screen showing the blueprints of some ships. We've got some clock, we've got some weather, our planetary and atmospheric gravity up there. And then looking around, that's what we get. Coming out of there and moving towards the front, this is our cockpit to fly this thing around. On our left, we've got some air vents, we've got some piston heads and some cargo containers. We've got our clock, planetary gravity, our artificial horizon, our movement. Then on our right hand side, we've got our weather. Once again, these programmable blocks are not being used for anything, so if you do have a fancy for something on this ship, you can add it yourself. Yes, looking around, this is what we get. We've got a lovely clear view all the way around, so we know what's coming up against us and anything trying to sneak up above us. Coming into third person view and bringing up the HUD, it's time to go through all of this. So if I was to move the camera all the way around, and let's just set myself down like so, and press number 1, we will be able to deploy our Gatling guns, which is just hidden away on the side behind our little fake vents at the front. They're on both sides, so we can fire them like so, and then once we're done, we can just pack them away, and now they're nice and safe. If I want to move the camera down and underneath and put the light back on, pressing number 2 will be to deploy our landing gear, which is going to be our wheels. So the front fold out, and the back ones fold out and then extend all the way down. Now we're ready to plop ourselves down and load and unload goods at a station. Pressing number 2 will then retract them all the way back, and we're ready to fly away. Number 3 is going to be for our Gatling guns, but I'm not going to fire them because we just did, and of course it will damage the blocks inside there. Number 4 is for our ion thrusters, just to help out in space, bearing in mind that this ship is not intended for combat, it is more just an exploration ship, so its thruster distribution isn't too great, but they are there if you need that additional maneuverability. Moving myself all the way around to the back, we're coming to our main thruster. Now this is what I was talking about earlier. Pressing number 5 is going to be to open that up. Let's watch that once again. There we go, very nice stuff. So that allows you to get inside there and repair up any of the conveyors. Then we can press that and fold it away. Of course, if you're going fast, you can make it a little bit of a theme to open that up. Then you can close it up once you're coming to a stop. But that's entirely up to you. Coming back to first person view and pressing number 6, this is going to be our emergency mode, where it's going to change all of our lights into a dark red color, and it's going to deploy our parachutes. We'll use this if our thrusters have been taken offline and we're on a planet and we need to safely come back down to the ground. Yes, we can disable that by pressing it again, our lights will come back and our parachute hatches will close. Bringing the camera back to the back and putting the light back on, number 7 is going to be for our ramp to go in and out. There we go. Number 8 is going to be for our cargo hatch all the way down and to open, and number 9 is manual control over our parachutes. If I was to get back into my character, tab number 2, 3 and 4 is empty, so it's time to fly this thing around. Now bearing in mind what I just said about its thruster distribution isn't too good, because it is an exploration ship and it is just fun to fly around, and this is what we get. So you can see there we are very slow. It's taking quite some time to even reach 20 meters per second, but that's alright for this type of ship. It's not a combat ship, it's not a racing ship, it is simply a exploration ship for you to go around and lounge around in while seeing the sights. Stopping as well is not too good, and it would be a very good idea to do a 180 in order to help yourself stop. So you need to plan ahead when you're pulling up to a station, or you could be in a lot of trouble. Moving left and moving right, we are exceptionally slow with that, like the forwards and backwards. Going down as well is going to be just as slow, and going up feels a little bit faster, but still very slow overall. But once again, it's not too much of a problem. Wiggling my mouse around, this is what we get. You may want to put a few more gyroscopes on here, but it's mainly due to the lack of thrusters all the way around this ship. But it's still very chunky, very meaty, and handles like a large battleship. So if you want to download it and play around with it yourself, there'll be a link to it in the description below. I highly recommend you do, because this is absolutely fantastic to look at, fantastic to play around with, and even more if you want to use it in survival mode, just spawn it in and say you built it. Yes, you can have a lot of fun with it. So yes, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one some point soon. Bye bye.